have a question for you, Emily.
I am so excited to answer it.
For a movie that lasts 2 hours and 25 minutes, did this movie feel like it was actually 4 hours and 25 minutes?
It felt like it was literally hours and hours. It felt like it was never ending. I think I called you. I watched it last night, and I think I called you like 4 times during the watch. And I was like, okay, I have to have like 20 minutes left. And then it was like an hour and 40 minutes. And I was like, oh my God. And then when she finally made it to India, which is only her second stop, I literally was like, okay, they must like swing through Italy and Bali, or India and Bali, because I've been watching this for so long and I'm so bored. And then I looked and it was like an hour and 20. And I was like, or like an hour. And I was like, oh my God.
I know. So the movie's like in 4 acts. We have like the beginning in New York, then Italy, India, Bali. So it's like an anthology of sorts, I guess. Like all these like mini stories to create like the overarching Elizabeth Gilbert storyline. But I was like, oh, this literally feels very long.
It should have been and would have probably been a strong mini series.
Yes.
Or like little, like I think about, what do I think about? I can't think of a good example, but like a Prime or HBO show where like they could do like 4 episodes and it's like hour and a half New York, hour and a half each place that she ends up going after. Like this probably would have done better. I mean, I guess people love this movie, actually. So people probably feel an affinity for this movie. Maybe I would like it if I gave it more of a chance, but I did not love it.
All right.
It was long.
Well, listener, if you're wondering what we're talking about, I decided on my word. Attraversiamo. It means let's cross over. This week on My Sister's Favorite Movie, we are discussing the very long, very contentious movie, Eat, Pray, Love. Cue the theme song.
And you know what I can't wait for? To cross over into the next movie.
Yeah. Okay. Eat, Pray, Love. I pulled the description from Prime Video. You ready for it?
Yeah.
At a crossroads in her life, Liz Gilbert, Julia Roberts, travels to Italy, India, and Bali to discover meaning and happiness in this inspiring true story based on the best-selling book. I feel like that is our most legitimate streaming synopsis ever.
Treehouse fun with Julia Roberts.
Italian fun with Julia Roberts. We
Literally.
eat, we pray, and we love with Julia Roberts. Okay, there's 2 things I want to say. First, this movie is based on a book, an autobiographical book by Elizabeth Gilbert. While we're talking about this movie, we're going to be referring to the movie only. I did read the book several years ago, but I don't remember any of the differences. So if we're like, ooh, plot hole this, or that doesn't make any sense, but it does make sense in the book if you have that background knowledge, we do not have that knowledge. We are totally going off the vibes of the film. So
also,
I wanted to put
that's
that.
a good point, because I actually think I would probably really like the book.
I remember liking it.
Like, I feel like this would be a very enjoyable read. As a movie, there was a lot of things I just like wasn't enjoying, and it was so long. And I bet like as a book it's like delightful, like someone like talking about their own travel experiences and like their inner thoughts and stuff. I bet it's like more, I don't know, I feel like you just might connect more to it than you would in the movie. But also I don't think I'm the target demo for the movie. But anyway,
so that being said, well, what else did I want to say? This movie gets a lot of hate, and I watched it the first time and I was like, oh my God. And then a lot of the research I got is a lot of negativity for this movie. So
people don't like this movie.
we'll get into it. So I'm trying to, because I could probably sit here and do a whole episode where I rip this movie apart. But I don't want to do that because people do love this movie. People love the book. People love the messaging. So I'm really going to try to balance the feelings. Because I don't want people to listen to us and think that we're shitting all over this movie.
There were parts of this movie I loved, and I'm going to talk about them.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to start us off. A little movie roll call, little information about the movie. This movie was released on October 13th, 2010.
Spooky.
16 years ago to the day of us recording.
Well, no, because it's August.
I said August.
You said October.
Oh, August 13th, 2010. 16 years ago. It was directed by Ryan Murphy.
Shout out.
Ryan Murphy fame. Which is also why I feel like it is kind of long. I feel like he's long-winded as a director.
But see, that he's a good example. Like, he loves a series. Glee, all of the, like, murder series, American Horror Story. Like, this was meant to be a series.
Like I said, it is based on Elizabeth Gilbert's 2006 memoir of the same name. It spent 150 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. So,
wow.
People loved the story. It was hot. This movie, it stars Julia Roberts, famously. She carries the whole movie. As Elizabeth Liz Gilbert, Javier Bardem, who comes in the last, 20 minutes of the movie.
And does his biggest one.
And does his big one. He plays Philippe, a Brazilian businessman. James Franco plays David, her boyfriend, in the beginning of the movie. Richard Jenkins plays Richard, the Texan that she meets at the ashram in India.
I liked him.
Viola Davis is Delia, her best friend that lives in New York City.
Shout out Viola Davis. She was the best part of the movie.
I know. It's like, oh, she came in hot. She did her big one and then
was in it for 5 minutes, but she's literally my favorite scene from the movie was one of the scenes with her.
So why did I pick this movie? I picked this movie this week because last week we discussed Cheaper by the Dozen, and Richard Jenkins did his big one as Shake, the asshole guy that is friends with Steve Martin's character Tom. And I was like, oh yeah, he's in Eat, Pray, Love. He's in a ton of movies. I could have picked any of those, but I was like, he's in Eat, Pray, Love. And I was
you
like,
could have picked Step Brothers. Step Brothers would have been so fun.
Next week's movie. But I was like, Eat, Pray, Love. And I was like, oh man, I could really go for a plate of pasta and watch Julia Roberts eat pasta. Eat, Pray, Love. And I also had memories of enjoying the book. I read the book when I was traveling to London by myself. And I think it felt really aspirational for me at that time. So I have all these memories of the movie. And then when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is not hitting me like it did once. And I'm like, that doesn't, and I'm like, maybe it's just I'm at a time in my life where this is not the story for me. And maybe it will be again one day. Because that's definitely happened with me for stuff.
I think that's so real. I feel like it'll probably come back. And I also think you were at a stage in which you were traveling alone, doing this thing, and so you were looking up to this movie for that reason. And I feel like now you're probably watching this movie being like, okay, this woman's a little older. I don't relate to her experience that she's going through. And so you weren't enjoying it from that lens. But it's at the time you were looking at the movie, relating to her in a different way. And now you're just I feel like I don't relate. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this film was a financial success.
I will say, you said this, the 150 weeks of top New York Times bestseller list. I feel like people love this book. And I feel like it was I'm trying to think of what a book has been that in recent years. A memoir that was that big. But I feel like it was so big, and it was probably every single person's mom read this book. I feel like it was so popular. It's Wild. That one too. That one
Yeah.
went crazy.
Because
I feel like it's like that.
Well, it's because American women get stuck in situations because of our culture, and they need these stories about women who are like going out on their own and doing something big or like not the norm for an everyday American woman, and they like really get into it. Like, it's hard for me to articulate because I haven't sat and thought about it hard, but it's like all in my brain. It's like with this escapism for women that might feel like trapped in a life that they actively participated in every step of the way. Isn't this what I wanted? Didn't I actively participate? As she says about buying the house with her husband a year ago. She's like, isn't this what I wanted? I feel like American women, you know, they got married young, they had babies, they did everything they were supposed to do, and then they're not happy. So they're reading about it, and they're seeing this woman go to Italy and eat and fall in love in Bali and find God in India. Like, yeah, aspirational. So the film had a $60 million budget, and it made $205 million in the box office. And it came in, it was in the number 2 spot behind The Expendables. And fun fact, Eric Roberts, Julia Roberts' brother, was in The Expendables. So like the media was like pitting them, Roberts against Roberts, these two movies.
That's so interesting. And they don't talk, right?
Yeah, there's like some mad beef between them.
Yeah, he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Was he really?
Yeah.
He's in that movie, like...
He was nominated for an Oscar. Or won an Oscar. One of the two.
He's in this crazy Lifetime movie. Shout out to Camille, because we watched all of them during COVID. My friend Camille, my girl. Stalked by My Doctor. And it's like, and Stalked by My Doctor 2, and like Stalked by My Doctor Again. Like, he's in a ton of them. And they just keep getting
like... My Doctor Again is crazy.
I think I just came up with that. But they just get even more and more camp as more sequels happen. But he is like kookity dookity in those movies. Oh my god. We should do one of them at some point on here.
We'll do it.
They're so funny.
We need to do like a Patreon and do like a Hallmark Lifetime series.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. This was also the highest debut at the box office for Roberts since American Sweethearts in 2001.
I've never seen that.
Like, yeah, America's Sweethearts. I think that's like, oh, I can't remember. Was it John Cusack? Yeah. John Cusack, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Billy Crystal, and Julia Roberts. Okay. Even though this movie was a box office success, the reviews were not good. And obviously, like, the reviews on the movies we picked have never been good. Yeah. Because it's always just a bunch of men. But some of the women, like, even I was reading articles, like, on Substack and Medium, and women are just like, what is this movie? Like, the pacing is out of whack. You don't feel sympathetic for her. Like, there's just something that's, like, not clicking. I also wonder if this movie would have been better with a female director.
I also think, like, it needed more time. Like, I think we'll get into this later, but I have, like, so many thoughts about, like, the setup of this movie and, like, we're not given any, like, I think people know Elizabeth Gilbert. Like, I think you're going to share more background maybe on who she is as, like, a writer and a person in real life. But I feel like people are really connected to her as a person and, like, follow her and have read her books and, like, know and whatever. And so, like, she's easier to sympathize with. And you're, like, seeing her narration when you're reading the book and stuff. And I feel like in the movie, we have no reason. Like, there's no setup of, like, her being, like, it's, like, barely told to us that she's a writer. Like, we don't really know who she is, what she does, that she has, like, a level of credibility, that we should care about her, that she's a sympathetic person. Like, we just know she's going on this journey, and, like, we're supposed to be into that. Which, like, exactly. As a woman, I am. Like, I think all women should be allowed to, like, leave situations they don't want to be in. And obviously there are cultures where women literally cannot. So I think it's important that we tell that story. But aside from like the morality of that, we have no reason to care about her. Sorry.
Yeah. So Wesley Morris of the Boston Globe gave the film 3 out of 4 stars while writing, "Is it a romantic comedy? Is it a chick flick? This is silly since, in truth, it's neither. It's simply a Julia Roberts movie, often a lovely one." And I'm like, yeah, it just feels like, just, like, if you don't like Julia Roberts, you're not going to like this movie.
We love Julia Roberts. I don't love Julia Roberts in this. And I think the reason I didn't like Julia Roberts in this is actually because she wasn't able to be like more Julia Roberts. Like it was like almost an in-between of like who I imagine Liz Gilbert is and then Julia Roberts. Like it was like somewhere in the middle she was existing, because it was like every time she did like her Julia Roberts laugh, it came off like really weird and strange to me. Like I was like, oh, like I was kind of taken out of it. Whereas like if she had been able to be like more herself in this movie and then did her big laugh, like I would have probably enjoyed it and it'd been like nostalgic and whatever. But it was like it just like wasn't quite right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just like she was miserable. And she seemed miserable through the whole thing. Like, It wasn't like she was like, oh, like a little bit looser in Italy, a little bit looser in India, and like finally free in Bali. It was like, she's just staying miserable. I feel like, I think I have it in my notes somewhere, but I'm like, the growth just isn't happening for me. Mm-mm. Like, I feel like she's learning lessons, but I don't know if she's growing from them. She's just like experiencing that a growth moment should be happening. It's weird.
Yeah, and I feel like they don't quite examine that. I'm sure the book does better, but like at the end when she has the huge fight with Javier Bardem, like I don't think I'd ever watched this movie all the way through. I'm almost certain I hadn't, because when I got to like the Javier Bardem, I was like, I literally don't think, like I think maybe if I'd watched it in the past, I made it to when she gets to India. Maybe. I know I made it to part of Italy, I think, and maybe into the India part, but I definitely had not seen the end. And like when they got in a fight, I was like, oh, okay, this movie is going to end with her not ending up with someone, and that's the whole point of this, is like, and I almost would have liked that better, because I actually did not like how this movie was framed around like the romance stuff. I thought it would, I'll talk more about that later when we get into like the actual like plot of the movie and stuff, but I just thought it was all really strange. And so I was like, oh, they're not going to end up together because they have this huge fight. And then they did, and I was just I was kind of confused.
Okay. And I'm going to do one last review because it was Roger Ebert, and you know, gotta mention Roger because we mention him in almost every movie.
Did you look on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, it has a 34%. I didn't look at like, I was gonna say local reviews, but I didn't look at like civilian reviews.
Totally.
Okay, Roger Ebert. It sounds like I just pulled this little excerpt. He had a long review. And, like, he went into, like, what the plot was and everything in his review. But it sounds like he, like, went to the movie theater and watched this and then did a review. Like, it doesn't sound like he got a screener. So it says, the audience I joined was perhaps 80% female. I heard some sniffles and glimpsed some tears, and no wonder. Eat, Pray, Love is shameless wish fulfillment. A Harlequin novel crossed with a mystic travelogue, and it mercifully reverses the life chronology of many people, which is love, pray, eat. Which I thought was interesting. Order? And it mercifully reverses the life chronology of many people, which I felt, this is sad. Love, pray, eat. Like, you fall in love, and then you find God, and then you're, like, miserable, so you eat all the time? Question mark?
He's saying that's the order in which people are doing it, or that's the order in which she does it?
That's the order in which many, it says, and it mercifully reverses the life chronology of many people. So I think that's going into that
way to think about it.
It makes me sad. Like, this movie made me sad. I feel like it's a cautionary tale. Like, I didn't feel aspirational at all. I was like, oh, I do not want to end up like Liz Gilbert.
Okay, like, here's my problem with this movie. I'm just gonna put it out there. I, like, actually was haunted by the way this movie was framed. The opening of the movie is her talking about her psychologist friend and the, like, refugee women asking the psychologist friend about their relationships. And so she immediately sets it up like everything's about romantic relationships. Then we see her in 2 romantic relationships, and we have no reason to be connected to either of them. Like, they both seem bad. Her husband seems like he's super, like, flaky and whatever, not a match. And then she gets with James Franco, and it's like, we don't even see them really have any sort of connection. They just meet in this, like, really strange way after the play, and then, like, they're together. Like, she's living with him, and that's it. Like, it's just, like, she just goes from man to man. And then that's why I think when she got to Bali and ended up with Javier Bardem, I was almost, like, irritated. Because I was like, have you learned nothing? Like, you need to take a beat and be by yourself. This is kind of, like, your problem. Like, you need to address this. And I don't know. I just didn't like the way it was framed. I was like, why are we automatically, like, it's just, like, what was the journey, you know? And why was she with these men?
Well, she did the thing where you get with the first guy. She probably was with him for a while. You marry the guy you've been with through your 20s and 30s or whatever. They were, in real life, or in the book, and real life, they were married for 8 years. And according to the book, which I said I wasn't going to go into, but this is, like, the only, like, tidbit that I read about the book, they were trying to have children. She didn't want children. So that's
that would have been more they kind of get into it in the movie, but I think that would have been a more interesting, like, real, like, we do not see eye to eye on this, like, period.
Yeah, because I felt like without that context, when she's like, I don't want to be married, I was like, you suck. Like there's no, like, you're not even gonna have a conversation with this man. Like, it made me mad. Like, I don't know. I don't like when people give up on stuff that easily, but I think there's supposed to be context that there's been, like, a lot of trouble, but I don't know. It's hard because
this movie was hard because we didn't have enough information, and I think they were banking on everyone having read the book and then going to see the movie and having, like, a lot more context, and I don't have the context because I've never read the book, and I think I was confused because I was seeing this character, this man who's her husband, and I was just seeing, like, barely enough information to be like, he seems like a flake who's, like, not really into what she's into and is, like, coming up with new ideas of jobs he's gonna do and, like, not really, like, a stable person. So I was seeing why she didn't want to be with him, but yeah, we don't really see her be like, we didn't have enough information for this scene to go how it did. Like, if it had been a whole movie or, like, we had background about their troubles and then she said, I don't want to be married anymore, I'd be like, right on, like, say what you need to say. But I think it could have been, like, they had a little more of a conversation of, like, it's been, like, XYZ for this many years and I also don't want kids and you're resenting me because I don't want kids. Like, it could have been quick, but we could have just had, like, a little bit more of, like, an understanding. I will also say, I'm like, I don't think I don't know. It's so hard because she's with these 2 men, right? Like, she gets out of this, to her, shitty relationship and immediately gets into another shitty relationship. To me, that signals, like, woman seeking validation, needs to get it from a man, has not become comfortable with herself, which is a journey in itself and a journey to be had by everyone. So, like, I think every woman should be able to have that journey where they don't feel like they need to be validated by a partner, and then because of that they're able to be in a relationship and be a better partner and appreciate their partner in a way that isn't just validating them. That's what I think the journey was meant to be, but that's not what the journey was. Like, at no point is that what this is about, and it should have been. Like, I thought that's what it was going to be, like, she doesn't need to be with a man, and they kind of set it up like that, because in Italy and India, she's not really getting with anyone, But they also, as soon as she gets to Bali, she's like, the Javier Bardem thing happens pretty quickly, and we don't really get a reason for them to really have anything in common or get along and like whatever. So she kind of does fall into another relationship. And then in Italy, I felt like a lot of her Italy time was like about her being sad, being around other people in relationships. So I was like, this is like hard to watch because I feel like she's not having the growth she's meant to have. But I think they thought she was.
Yeah, and I can't tell if like women of a certain age watch this and be like, yeah, because it's, but I'm like, she's supposed to be like late 30s, early 40s in the story, but it's giving more like late 50s, early 60s trauma to me.
Yeah.
Like, and I hate, like, I don't know how to like articulate without poo-pooing on women's life experiences or seeming anti-female, because I'm not. But it's just tough. And
I think you just don't relate to her story and you see a very flawed character. And I think people talk about this all the time. This is what makes a good story. It's bringing out a strong emotion in you.
Yeah. And like you were talking about how like the framework of the film, and she didn't have a growth journey or whatever. Like she does like reject the love coming off of Javier Bardem, but then Katut, her healer, is like, to find balance in love, you have to be unbalanced. So he's like, and it's like, is it
that
telling
part gagged
like,
me a little? Because you know how freaky and weird I am about routine. And I was like, oh, you have to be a little unbalanced to have balance. Okay, Katut, I like this. I'm going to be thinking about that.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, does that mean you just revert back to your old ways, Julia Roberts' character? Or is it like you find... it's obviously, I think, you're finding an unbalance in your New Balance shoes.
Yeah.
But, in your Skechers. But, sponsor us. I love Skechers.
Please. So does Dad.
And, yeah, I don't know. It just frustrates me. It frustrates me almost as much as Julia Roberts' finale outfit when she's on the dock. Did you notice?
Yes.
I was like, this is the last outfit you're going to put superstar Julia Roberts in
I was
film?
like, they somehow managed to find the dumpiest thing they could find for her. I was like, I genuinely was like, is that her? Like, that's crazy.
I was like, in real life, Javier Bardem would turn around and go back up that beach and go back into town. Like, no, I was like, bad. Man was the costume designer on the movie. And I was like, he fucked Julia Roberts. She looks bad through this whole thing.
I was thinking that. The clothes were terrible the whole movie. This movie was just, like, not good. And I think, I genuinely think they were like, we can fucking ride on this book. Like, New York Times bestseller, huge writer that everyone knows and is recognizable. Women are gonna love this. Put Julia Roberts in it. And don't worry, low key. Like, it reminded me of that movie Julia and Julia. But I like that movie a lot better.
Yeah, I like that movie too. Well, okay, so interesting. I'm gonna back up a little bit to give a little bit more information about this movie before we like start jumping into plot and things like that. Julia Roberts saw that Oprah Winfrey liked this book, and she was like, I'm gonna option the rights to the book. So Julia Roberts was like on the filming of this book from the beginning, and she recruited Gary Marshall of Princess Diaries, Pretty Woman fame to direct the movie, but he did not want to have to travel out of the States to do the movie.
I wish he would have.
I feel like it's a totally other movie if he did it, and I feel like it would have been more delightful.
It would have been so cozy and so... Like, I'm trying to think of a movie where they travel that it would be like...
My Life in Ruins.
Yeah, My Life in Ruins is honestly not a bad example. Or just, like, how... It wouldn't be like this, but, like, kind of like this. Like, how she travels in The Holiday. Like, when she goes to the Like when they both travel in the holiday. Like I feel like it would give more of that, and like you would really feel what they're experiencing. You know what I have to say really quickly about this movie that really bugged me? I just keep saying stuff. Like, didn't it look like at certain parts of the movie, like if you had to give, people are going to be so mad at us for this episode. Like if you had to give a presentation in like high school or college about like Italy, and you pulled like a stock video of pasta and like a stock song that's free, and you made like a presentation, like why did everything look like stock images? Like everything looked like Getty free version.
And you know what, I feel like I was trying to watch it and be like, this movie, okay, I know we're shitting all over it, whatever. I was like, this movie feels so freaking long. And I was like, what could we cut? I was like, why does it feel long? Like, what do we need to cut? And it's like, do we cut, like, the sprinkling of the cheese on the spaghetti? But then it's like, no, because it's, like, setting the scene, and it's beautiful. I couldn't figure out what we could cut. Also, I wanted to touch on this. Audience responses. Well, like, this movie was definitely made for a certain demographic, middle-aged women. What do middle-aged women love? The Home Shopping Network. This movie was merched out. There was jewelry, perfume, tea, gelato machines, and according to Wikipedia, an oversized Indonesian bench. I could not find what that meant. Everything that whenever I was like, what is the Eat, Pray, Love oversized Indonesian bench? It just was like, on the poster, she's sitting on a bench eating gelato. And I was like, okay.
But that would have been Italy.
I know. So I was like, I don't know what, like, they were selling a bench. It was probably like an Indonesian-styled bench for your backyard. Just like Eat, Pray, Love or something. I don't know. And then there were Eat, Pray, Love prayer beads and Eat, Pray, Love bamboo window shades. World Market opened an entire section in all of their locations devoted to merchandise tied to the movie.
I bet they did.
HSN, Home Shopping Network, ran 72 hours straight of programming featuring Eat, Pray, Love products around the time of the film's release, like a couple days after or something. I saw a thing in Variety that reported a line of lip glosses from Lancome also came out for Eat, Pray, Love. And Julia Roberts famously is a spokesperson for Lancome.
Yes.
Let me see.
Yeah, I just felt like
and then I read this scathing review on the HuffPost, and it was from a contributor, I think. And the writing style was like insane to read. I was like, is this person okay?
But it was writing.
Like, Gilbert's best-selling memoir, and I took a small excerpt, is ostensibly about spiritual enlightenment, and this merch run-up to the movie's version release could be perceived as the opposite. An orgasm of tie-ins, of products designed to make women of a certain age feel young, beautiful, adventurous, exotic, at least for the few minutes following her ripping open one of the product packaging. A marketing strategy that's almost comically banal, the brainchild of some licensing whiz who knows well and good that women buy shit to feel happy, and why make bones about it?
Jesus.
I was like, it just feels like an exploitation of sad middle-aged women. That's why I was really frustrated in this movie.
And
it's not supposed to be.
No, and that's the thing about it is, like, I think this story should be told. And I think women's stories should be told. And I think there is a cultural tone that women have to get married. They have to have babies. They have to do these things. They need to be in their career. You can't travel. You can't solo travel. For a lot of privileged women in the US, they actually can and could do those things, but culturally we're told and taught to think we shouldn't. And so I think these stories should be told of, like, women going off and doing the things they want to do and being single. But the tone of this wasn't positive. Like there was glimpses of it, and those were the fun moments, like when she takes the girl in Italy to buy the jeans, and she's like, we're gonna eat our pizza, we're gonna go buy new jeans, and we're gonna watch the soccer game, because the girl is like nervous about eating too much pizza because her jeans aren't fitting. That is like a beautiful, delightful moment. I think it's like a little of the time that we have to talk about
muffin top,
like muffin top, and like the fit in your jeans by Friday kind of like mentality that we were in then. And so I hate stuff like that. I also like don't understand the narrative around like always being like, my jeans don't fit, I can't get back in my jeans.
Yes, I know. What is that about? You gotta look hot in your jeans.
Because it was like, it would always be like the workout videos were like fit in your jeans by Friday, and then it like Sex in the City, it was like Miranda wanted to fit in her pre-baby jeans, and she's so excited when she fits in the jeans. And then this movie, it was all about the jeans. I'm just like huh? Like, I'm just like, why is it all about...
Are jeans supposed to be like... Are jeans supposed to be like sexy clothes? Like, do you think like
that's
in the 70s and 80s was it like, oh, I'm wearing my jeans, they hug my butt, you can see my butt in them, my thighs?
I think that was part of it. Like, I think in the early 2000s it was like jeans were tight, but like now they're not, like they fit your butt, but they're not like all that. Like, I feel like jeans like you wear to work or whatever. But I think it's also like, I think it's also because jeans they don't have a lot of give. So like, yeah, like if you kind of gain weight, you probably won't like be able to stretch into your jeans, you know, or like your jeans won't stretch.
I don't know.
You.
My jeans be stretched by the end of the day. I got them for the wash so they fit again.
That's true. But like, I don't know. It was just like it was like every time it would kind of get positive, I was like, yay, okay. Then it would like turn negative again, which I guess is the journey of her like going to each place, and like she does say it when she's in India. She was like, I was in Italy and I was having such a great time, and I was eating and I was dancing and whatever she says. And she's like, and now I'm here and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, yeah, it seems like that. But I never felt like she figured out what she was doing. But I also guess that's
well, it's like my girl Gala. She's always been like, as my mom always says, wherever you go, there you are. Gala, you told me that once, and I think about it once a week.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah. I told Emily that. No, she thinks about it all the time. Because it's so true. No matter where you go, there you are. Like, your problems come with you.
But I also think there's, like, something positive and, like, fabulous about it when you're in a good place. It's like, wherever you go, there you are, baby. Like, you are here. So I think it's just, like, embracing it. But I don't think I also think we've come a long way. I bet Elizabeth Gilbert would agree with this. Like, we have come a long way since this... Well... Have we? We've come a way since this movie came out, and I think the Belle Bardem memoir, that's what I was trying to think of. The Belle Bardem memoir that just came out is the new Eat, Pray, Love. I think, and unfortunately, I don't even know how to talk about this. What I think it's the negative tone. And I get frustrated with any story that just has such a negative tone like this. And like every single movie we've watched has had a female lead. We love women-led stories. That's what we're all about. It's harder for us to relate to a middle-aged woman's story. That said, it's the tone of this story. There are plenty of like things we've watched, and that's what I was gonna say. I think media about older women in their golden years kind of thing has become so much stronger. And obviously this is frustrating because it's a real person story, and I wish it maybe had more of the tone of what her book had, or like what her true experience was, because I'm sure it had a more positive tone than this movie kind of spun it to be. I think this movie was almost leaning into like the middle-age depression like story that we're told that women have to have, which they don't. There's so many alternatives to like live a joyful life in your older years. And I think we're just seeing better media and better depictions of that. And I feel like as kooky and literally kookity dookity as it was, and just like that is a good example of like, we have a story about like older women living their best life, feeling joyful, not leaning into the negative tone. Or are you going to disagree?
No, I was going to say, or having the negative tone, but able to come out of it, because that's what I feel like is supposed to happen to her. Like, and I don't know if it's the directing, if it's the adaptation screenplay, but I'm kind of like, I wonder like if Nancy Meyers had done this movie, how it would be different. Because like the Diane Keaton, Something's Gotta Give, Meryl Streep, It's Complicated, like they have this storyline that like they're saddened ladies from bad relationships and being alone or feeling lonely, whatever, but they have this growth. They're strong women. They found themselves, and then they find the relationships, and like whatever. Like, I'm still not articulating it right. I know I'm gonna make people mad, but it's just like,
no, I think you're right though. We just don't see enough of the growth. However, there was definitely moments I loved.
Okay, I'll talk about how she got made. I already talked about the Oprah Winfrey of it all. Like, this book was a bestseller.
Oprah loved it.
Yeah. And I mean, Eat, Pray, Love, it's in the zeitgeist, something that's totally inaccurate, which I was like, there is no excuse for this. The scene with the pizza, or the scene with the pasta, and she's
where was the carbonara?
Not that part. When she orders the pasta, she by herself, and she like watching the man like rub that woman's stomach across the plaza or whatever, the palazzo, and she starts eating, and the opera music's playing. The opera is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's The Magic Flute, which is a German opera.
It's so crazy that you say that, because I have in my notes, it wasn't this part, it was another part. I was like, why is the music so French sounding? Like, all of the music was giving like, c'est si bon. Like, it was giving that kind of vibe. Like, it was very like French sounding and not Italian sounding.
That was something else. Like, it wasn't like making sense to me, but that's what obviously you picked up on it. Like, the Italian people kept saying like, where's the mandolin? And it must be like, where's this instrument that's like iconic to Italian music? Because it's not sounding Italian. They're like,
that's what it was. It was very like horns.
They're like, you're showing these sweeping landscapes of Italy, but where's the mandolin? It kept saying, and I was like, what does that mean? Now that you say that, that must be what they're talking about. Good eye, good ear.
Like, the music doesn't sound Italiano. As an Italian American woman, I wasn't hearing the Italiano. Her eating her first plate of pasta was tough for me as well, because I didn't like how they were making it seem like a guilty thing, low key.
Yeah.
That was like the whole opposite of the point of what it was supposed to be, and I think it got better later on when she orders at the restaurant for everyone. But this first scene really bugged me, because she's like biting it and she's like looking to the side.
That's what drives me crazy.
Oh my god! Like, I hate it when people do that. And
it's like, remember that like Yoplait or like one of those yogurt commercial where the lady, oh my god, this like just entered my brain. All the millennial girls are gonna be like, oh my god. But like, there was some yogurt commercial and the girl's like on her phone with her friend and they're like, what are you eating? She's like, I'm having Boston cream pie with blah 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 and blah blah blah. Yeah. And it's just like the 70 calorie low cal yogurt that's like Boston cream pie essence, like so bad for you, like created in a lab. Bullshit.
Yeah, and jokes on them. Like, probably the full fat version is like so much healthier. Meanwhile, this 70 cal Boston cream pie has like fucking like astaxanthin or whatever the fuck to make it like, I don't even know, dog. It's not right.
Me neither. Ugh.
I can't remember where I was, but I was somewhere and I ordered a hot fudge sundae, and a woman next to me did say something. Like, she was like, oh, like, that's so sinful, or like, I wish I could have something like that, like, guilty, you know, like, or, oh, you're bad, like, that sort of thing. And I was like, it's ice cream sundae.
I can't. I don't know what to say. Anyways, more on how she got made. More on the pasta scene. Susan Spungen was the food stylist for this movie, and I thought this was like interesting. So after they filmed the scene with Julia and everything began to wrap up, she like threw out the food. Like, she was there making sure it looked good for the scenes. They did the scenes. Everything's wrapped. She throws it in the trash can. They realize they didn't get the close-ups of the food with the cheese getting grated on it. So she was like, she had to fish the pasta out of the trash, replate it, and then they did the cheese grating scenes. The trash pasta was not fed to Julia Roberts, but when you see it in the film, just know that that was in the trash can.
Not the trash pasta. Yikes.
So I thought that was interesting. Now, let's move into our next category. Girl, be serious. Girl, be so fucking serious. When James Franco called her at the ashram and she answered, and she's like ruminating on him and thinking about him, and she's like, I miss him. Like, God bless Richard for being
I got quotes. He said, send him some love and light every time you think about him, then drop it. Love and light. That's what I always say to people.
Yeah.
Love and light.
But I was like, when she emailed him, I think, Italy, and then he calls her in India, I was like, I thought we were done with this. Like, this is actually bullshit that you're still, like, no.
That's
Ew.
what I'm saying. Like, never are we told that she's learned her lessons.
When she is leaving, and he's like, if you stay, I'll go out for Indian with you every night. I was like, huh? And then she was like, you never asked me to stay. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I was like, why do they even like each other? I didn't even know they had a real connection. I don't understand why they're living together. Also, it was super frustrating to me that she was going to this ashram to pray and meditate and be, and that's like his guru. She's going to see and pray and meditate with Guru Gita, which he is his thing and his journey. And I'm like, so what? Why are you going there? Like, this was never something that you were committed to or passionate about. Why are you going to India to pray at this ashram that is like his thing? Like, we're already saying you need to not be like controlled by the male gaze and male validation, and then that's where her spiritual journey is going to be, like this place that he told her about. Wrong.
Well, yeah, I think it's because when she decides to take this trip, she's wrapped up in being with him. Like, literally, she's like runaway briding like him, like picking up all the things he likes. It's like when she goes to dinner with Viola Davis and her husband, who he was on TV. I can't think of his name. But
oh, he was in Glee.
Oh, was he?
Ryan Murphy.
And he's like, when you were with whatever your husband's name is, you looked like him. But now that you're with David, you sort of look like David. And she's like all offended, and I was like, yeah, it's fucking true. It's so strange. This movie like really did like pull something out of me.
I'm like really struggling to talk about it.
Okay, so let's move into the Sisters' Choice Awards.
Bling, bling, bling.
So our first award is She Ate, Best Performance, Entrance, Comeback, or Dramatic Moment in the film. My She Ate nominee is Richard Jenkins. He eats and he leaves 0 crumbs. When he tells his story of his journey.
Oh my God.
Something I noticed and that I read about is that Ryan was like, do the thing. It's because I'm going to keep the camera on you the whole time. And the camera does not, the camera does not leave him. It like I saw something that was like, it doesn't have, I can't remember if it was a TikTok or something, but they're like, the camera, it doesn't have to like show Julia Roberts like looking sad or like different angles of him. Like, Ryan Murphy like let him chew the scenery, and he did. Like, he ate up this scene, and I was like, this man is underrated. Like, he's not, but he's also underrated at the same time. And I low-key need him in, like, a Nancy Meyers movie. Like, I need to see him, like, in a romantic comedy.
He's kind of lovely. And, like, he has played so many different characters, I feel like. Like,
yeah, because, like, he's such an ass in Step Brothers.
He's such an ass in Step Brothers. But then in
Friends with
Dear
Benefits.
John... No, in Friends with Benefits too. In Friends with Benefits, he's so good. In Dear John, he has like another very emotional journey, and like Richard Jenkins can just like play a lot of different characters. But I agree that was one of the best parts. But when he told the story of what had happened, I was like, fuck this movie, because I hate stuff like that, and I was already not liking the movie, and then that like super emotional story that he told, I was like, I'm sick to my stomach. Like, I can't watch this movie. Also,
I know. I feel like I'm at a point in my life too where this kind of drama doesn't sit well with me, and like I don't enjoy it. And I think at one point in my life I really did like drama stuff like this,
but it was just making me sick.
Yeah, I really don't have space for it.
No, it's awful. But what are my other She Ate? I mean, Julia Roberts is She Ate casting. I'm sure the casting team was very excited that she like wanted to be on board with this movie from the beginning and had optioned it. And then also Viola Davis's whole performance is a She Ate. Her scene in the airport really was my favorite scene of the whole movie. So shout out to her.
So I feel like the She Ate performance, I'm just gonna call it, Richard Jenkins killed it. He was in it for like what felt like 4 hours, but he was in it for...
I was going to say, he was in it for probably an hour.
He was probably in it for about 30, 40 minutes, and he gave a masterful performance. And it's so funny because I've always been like, oh yeah, I remember him, he's such an ass, like his character's so mean, and then I like watched it and I was like, no, I'm enjoying his character the most. Like, he brings a little something to the movie, I feel like.
He had a nice story, and his acting is really good.
Next category, my favorite category. Cringe peak. Beware of cringe peak. The muffin top bullshit. That gives me the biggest cringe. It just gives old lady naming parts of our body to be ashamed of, and then talking about how she's not going to be ashamed to
also,
have
they
this
did a
body
callback
part.
to it. They brought it up multiple times. And the term muffin top is so disgusting and unnecessary to me. Like, no. Women have fucking hips because they bear children. It's not a muffin top. It's anatomy. I have so many cringe peaks, as can be expected.
Hit me.
James Franco being the main one. Everything about James Franco. And I'm not even talking about James Franco in real life, which is above and beyond, again, like cringe peak. That character. I hate that guy. He's my least favorite person in the movie because I hate him. Because he sucks and is annoying and creepy and weird. And if you met that man in real life, you would have the ick. That would be awful. If you saw him acting in that play, acting how he was acting, yuck. Okay. But there are certain things he said that I really hated. First of all, he's the whiniest little bitch I've ever come across. He's like, oh my god, I need to come home and have my quiet time and da-da-da-da. When has a man ever said that to a woman? And he's so whiny when she's leaving, and he's like, we can go get Indian food every night. And she's like, you never asked me to stay or whatever. And he's like, like sitting on the stoop all sad.
Well, I was like,
you're a loser. Who are you?
Why do we like you? I was so confused because I was like, oh, I thought you were like wanting to not be with her because you're like a dick to her.
But then he was like, let's be unhappy together. I was like, that's an ethos we shouldn't be teaching anyone.
Yeah.
And then he said something that I was like, if someone said this to me, I would leave and never turn back because I would never be able to unhear it. When he said to her, don't you want to give me a chance to miss you?
Ew.
I would be like,
yeah.
Oh my God. I would be like, don't worry about it. I'm going to head.
When did he say that?
It's when they're like fighting and he's like running around the apartment and like grabbing shit and whatever. And he's like, don't you want to give me a chance to miss you? And she's like, ah, like whatever they're saying. Oh my God. When they're in the laundromat together and oh my God. And he folds her underwear and hands it to her. And she's like, he folds my delicates. And the woman's like, girl, you're in trouble.
What else was on my cringe peak?
Oh, I have more. All of her crash out moments. Meh. So I'm not even going to get into specifics. There are things she says, though, that really, one in particular, I hate jokes like this. It's giving, like, this joke I'm about to tell you is giving tea towels in a gift store that's like, your husband called. He said, buy whatever you want. Like, shit like that.
I am not okay right now on this rewatch. I feel so bad for our listeners.
You think it's really bad?
I don't know. I feel bad for Gala, who's listening to this.
Does she
sorry.
like this movie?
I don't know. I'm gonna text her right now. Do you like the movie? I'm just gonna.
If she says she loves it, we might need to start over. No, when she's at lunch with her Italian tutor, who was one of my favorite characters. He was.
I hate. I know what you're gonna say.
And it's giving the tea towel thing. When she's like, now he's teaching her a traversiamo to cross. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to teach you a word. And he's like, great. And she holds up the carafe of red wine. And she was like, this? Therapist. Get it? And I was like, I fucking hate this. I knew. I mean, every part of this movie, I knew I didn't like it. But that. And I did like it. Maybe I would like it if I had a better lens or something, but I went into this thinking I wasn't going to like it, and I didn't. But when she said that, I was like, I don't like jokes like this.
I don't either.
It's giving tea towel.
It's giving sad women. I made a note in here somewhere. Hold on.
This is so bad.
Okay, I made a hot take note. That's literally got all these like spelling errors and grammatical errors in it because I was typing it so fast because I was having like an emotional reaction in the movie. But I was like, hot take. I hate this American woman narrative. Ogala said, don't hate me. I did not. But only seen once. Okay.
Oh, good. Okay, we don't like it either, Gala. Shout out. It's my least favorite movie we've watched. Obviously.
But I remember it being like overhyped and underbaked. Gala!
Oh my God. Wait, that's the name of the episode.
Overhyped and underbaked.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's how we feel.
Like Overcooked and Underbaked is the name of Eat, Pray, Love.
Hot take. I hate this American woman narrative. There's an air, like, this is like her completely the character she's playing in this film. There's an air of like unrefinement and latent sadness. This movie to me feels more like a cautionary tale than one of hope and aspiration and wonder. I feel like it holds a mirror up to women of America and shows how miserable they are, and I low-key hate it. I feel like instead of them being like, this is aspirational, they're like, that's me too. There's other women like me.
And this is something I think about and talk about a lot. I really think the narrative around older women has changed so much, and we are getting aspirational content, but it's like everything was framed like very negatively for a period of time. And I think now we're seeing older women in a different light that is like more beautiful, aspirational, joyful, etc. Also, women have like, never mind. I was going to say something else, but I'm not even going to say it. Okay, wait, I have to go.
Okay. We'll pick up at Cringe Pete. Love it, bye. All right. We're picking back up. You might notice we're dressed a little bit differently. I am in a like baseball tee, and Emily is dressed as Catherine Hahn in
How to Lose a
Guy in 10 Days.
I'm literally about to conduct a session of couples therapy.
Yeah, you didn't realize that this was going to switch to couples therapy right after we finished Cringe Peak.
It's
But
perfect.
alas, here we are. Yeah, so I think we're going to wrap up Cringe Peak because I think we have kind of like beat a dead horse and made this whole movie feel cringe. So moving forward. Okay.
Moving forward.
Next category I wanted to talk about is Cameo Icon.
Which I didn't catch any, so...
Oh, really? Okay, so Julia Roberts' sister, Lisa Roberts Gillen, was the lady in the play with James Franco in the beginning. She's like in all the Gary Marshall movies. That's her sister.
Who is she in the Gary Marshall movies?
I
know exactly who you're talking about. I know exactly who
is she in Runaway Bride? She's like one of her friends or something. Oh shit, who is she in Runaway Bride? Or like she's Hector Elizondo's secretary, or Rita Wilson's secretary, one of those two in Runaway Bride. And then
Rita Wilson's in Runaway Bride.
Yeah, she's his boss. Richard Gere's boss.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then who is she? Is she in I can't think of if she's in Pretty Woman. And then is she in Princess Diaries? I feel like she is in Princess Diaries, but maybe I'm wrong.
I do know who you're talking about, though. I know.
But yeah, she kind of pops up randomly. But that's her sister.
That's
and
so
then
cute.
Sophia Thompson plays Corella, or the lady who is in silence at the ashram. That lady plays Mafalda Hopkirk in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And that is Emma Thompson's younger sister.
Wait, she did look familiar.
Okay, so you don't have any cameos? Maybe Viola Davis's husband, too.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe
he was
Viola
on a TV show. What TV show was it?
Glee.
Not that one. It was like a family one.
But he was on Glee.
Yeah.
Glee was a family show.
True. No, but like one about a family.
So Cameo Icon, I'm going Julia Roberts' sister. I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
And it's
unless you're like a huge
Harry
Harry Potter fan, because the other lady is interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. It's interesting that the Julia Roberts' sister is in it when she's in so many Gary Marshall movies, and this was supposed to be Gary Marshall, but then it wasn't. Kind of an interesting shout.
It is interesting.
Okay. And the award goes to Julia Roberts' sister.
Lisa Roberts Gillen.
Lisa Roberts Gillen. Come get your award.
Come on down. All right. So, and then let's see. Figured we would try to end the Sister's Choice Awards on something positive.
Wait, can I say two things before you do that?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I want to say is we know we were very negative about this episode. It just wasn't one of our favorites, which we'll probably touch on again as we close. But there were things about this movie that I thought were great. I loved the travel. I obviously love seeing Julia Roberts in any movie, so shout out to her. Richard Jenkins did his big one in this. Obviously had some great cameos. I love a movie that's set in New York. So there was a lot of beautiful aspects of this movie, and there was a lot of cringe peaks that were hard to get past. That said, I did want to ask you a question. If you were going to eat, pray, love, where would you eat, pray, love?
Maybe I would go to Italy to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Pray. Oh, I was about to say maybe I would stay in Italy, go to the Vatican.
No, pray. I was literally going to say I would eat, pray, love the whole thing in Italy.
Because then I was like, and then love, I would be like, let's go to Greece.
I know, I was kind of thinking Greece or like the south of France. But like I could probably do it all in Italy. As an Italian-American woman, I eat, I pray, and I love all in the homeland.
In the homeland. Yeah, where did they go to get the pizza?
Napoli.
I would go there for the eating, and then I would go to pray at the Vatican, and then I would love in like Tuscany
Florence
or something.
Or Venice, yeah. Tuscany.
Well, I love Florence. Maybe I would pray in Florence and the Vatican.
Florence is where I'm getting married.
At the Duomo.
At the Duomo, famously.
Count
I'm
your
getting
days,
married at the Duomo.
for the big Burns wedding. Okay, so I'm going to end with our last category, which is the vibes for Immaculate. The best setting sequence montage for overall atmosphere. For me, I have a few. The vibes for Immaculate were everything in Italy, but her meeting Sophie in the cafe with all the like men yelling and stuff, and then they have a connection, and you're like, oh, she's gonna be okay. She's met a girl. They're gonna have fun. She's got a friend in Italy now who then hooks her up with the teacher. And then he's like taking her to the different places, and she's meeting all these people and having a good time.
She makes her friends.
And growing off of that, I love when they all go to dinner together. And she orders for everybody. I read an article that somebody, I read it like a legitimate reviewer who was like, why did she order all that food for herself? That was disgusting. Like, it just shows how gluttonous Americans are. And I was
she obviously was ordering for the whole table because she was practicing her Italian. And she did a kick-ass job.
I think that was like an assignment for her to like order for everyone.
Also, why would everyone be looking at her like, nodding along like, yes, good job, you got it, that was great, like, look how far you're coming along? The fuck? She's obviously not ordering that. And if she did, enjoy it, girl. You're on vacation, you're trying everything that Italy has to offer. She's eating, she's praying, she's loving. That said, she was ordering for everyone, and she did a good job. And that was also one of my favorite parts, because I was like,
and I like the Thanksgiving scene. So like all the friendship scenes in Italy are like spot on.
I liked the Thanksgiving scene, but I didn't know what was going on because the subtitles weren't showing like English.
I feel like when movies do that, I feel like when movies do that, it's supposed to provide us the same experience as the American in the movie who isn't understanding it as well. It's supposed to just be like, we're not understanding, just like the character.
But then it's like they started laughing, and she started laughing, and I was like, oh, yes, it's funny.
Oh, because I think they were like sausage. Or no, that's the lady that she rents the place from. She's like, come here to manja and sausage.
Sausage.
Like, and then I like when she has written the email to all of her friends about donating money.
I just got chills.
To the healer that she works with, and they send the money, and then they show that like they sent the money so that this woman could have her own home, and they show the home being built, and the blue tiles are all over, and it was like the daughter of the healer had a little blue tile that she was like, maybe one day we can have a whole floor like this, and then you see that the mom did have a whole blue floor put in, and I was like, I love that.
She listened to her daughter. I think that's so sweet.
I like that part. So those are my vibes for Immaculate.
My pick for the vibes for Immaculate, we've already talked about it, but Viola Davis at the airport, because this movie is kind of crazy because obviously Viola Davis is like one of the best actresses of all time, and like amazing, and like a star,
like a movie star,
like a movie star, and like an Oscar winner. She's in this movie for like probably 8 minutes of screen time, basically. Like, she's barely in this movie. But I just got chills thinking about it. Her part when they're in the airport, and because she's been like being so not supportive, and she's like, I don't think you should do this. Oh, she shook me actually when and this is shout out to Gala. This goes back to Gala's thing that wherever you go, there you are. When Julia Roberts is like describing what she's gonna do and all this stuff, and Viola Davis is like, yeah, but what do you do if you go and it doesn't work out? Like, if you do all this and you still feel the same. And I was like, shit, girl, that's so true. Like, what do you do? And like, that was just like such a moment of tough love that I feel like it's like I low-key think like when people go on these like big like finding themselves journeys, it is kind of like, yeah, and what are you gonna do if you feel the same? But it's like, that's why you have to try, because then you'll know.
Well, see,
like,
and I think that kind of shows like what a real friend would do is like pushing you to be like, I don't know if you should do this. Like, think about this. Like, don't. But then, like, when she's like, I'm going, it's like, okay, then I'm going to be the one who's taking you to the airport. I'm going to be like checking in on you and making sure you're good and like supporting you through it.
She just wanted to make sure she had thought about it and had an idea of like what this journey was going to be like for her and what she was. And obviously she's coming at it from the place of like Julia Roberts did just uproot her whole life and like end her marriage, and then she got with James Franco, and then like she moved in with him, and then she was like, no, I'm going to go to Italy, India, and Bali. So she's like being like, okay, you've tried a lot of things, like what are you going to do if this one doesn't work either? You know what I mean? So like it's a fair question. But then she takes her to the airport. What?
It's interesting because, like, that's what her ex-husband was doing, but you had zero patience for him. And then it's also interesting because she's, like, a travel writer, I believe. Like, I'm assuming. And I'm kind of like, have you been in all these places?
Yeah, like, would that be something that's, like, exciting to you?
Yeah.
Or would it be more exciting to you to, like, stay put somewhere for, like, a long time kind of thing? But her husband didn't want to travel also, the ex-husband. Remember, he didn't want to go to Bora Bora or wherever they were trying to go. Aruba.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to go to Aruba. I don't want to be married anymore.
He's gagged. He's like, I didn't want to go to your weekend-long work trip. Like, I didn't say anything about divorce. But anyway, so Viola Davis takes her to the airport. So obviously she is like emotional support character MVP. In addition to Richard Jenkins, obviously. But then we've seen Viola Davis like questioning her choice the whole time. And then she takes her to the airport and she's like, I know I've been hard on you, whatever. But she's basically just like, it's because like I love my husband, I love my baby, I love my work, I love my apartment, whatever. But like, I wish I could go. And it's just so sad. Like that part actually was the best part of the movie to me, and it's such a small moment, but it made me cry, and Viola Davis was so good, and it's just like, yeah, like that probably would be how she felt. Like she loves her life, she has a lot of responsibilities, so she obviously can't go on a trip like this, but like she's always gonna wish that she could.
Yeah. This movie's a downer. This is a downer for me.
It is a downer. And
I think that wraps up our vibes for Immaculate.
So that wraps up the vibes for Immaculate. I think the overall vibe that was Immaculate was just like the travel of the film and getting to see like these beautiful places and the food and the like culture and stuff. That said, like parts of it in each place were very stereotypy, so we balance it out with that, or we have that going on. So
I thought you were gonna say there were parts of it were really long, and I was like,
the whole thing was phenomenally long, shockingly long. It was actually crazy. It was longer than Lawrence of Arabia, which I think is the longest movie I've ever watched.
I know, it's amazing how some movies can be 2.5 hours and just be like, and then some movies like this just feel like your whole day.
Well, Maggie, let me ask you, is this movie still a favorite?
I don't think I'll revisit it for a while. I can see myself revisiting it again, but not for a while. But I know there will be a day when I'm like, I want to watch Julia Roberts eat pasta and go pray in India. Like, I'm going to watch this.
You know, I think this is a great movie and is probably a favorite of many folks. I think we're just not watching it in a time in our lives where it's good to us. And, like, it's like you said before, like, you really enjoyed this movie when you were about to go on a big solo trip. And, like, that's not what we got coming up right now. So like it's not speaking to us, and we're obviously a bit younger than she is in the movie, so different life experiences. And it's also just very like I'm so sorry to say this, but like the ugliest time period of the 2010s. Like the clothes were ugly, the vibes were ugly. Like it was just like we had that too. So like it's not as like fun Y2K girly pop to look at. So we had that layered in. So I think the odds were against us at this time in our lives. That being said, I understand why people like this movie, and I'm sure I'll have a different feeling about it at a different time. But for now, it is not one of my favorites. I give it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I would give it, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
4.25. All right, well, attraversiamo. We finally crossed over to the end of this episode.
Thank God.
Thank you. We release Eat, Pray, Love back into the movie vault. Emily, what movie are we watching next week? Tell me.
So,
refresh
Maggie,
me.
I was feeling crazy about what to pick because I was going back and forth so much. And like you have said multiple times to me, we've really been living in like the Y2K. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get us out of Y2K. We're going to jump time periods. And so I had something I was going to pick. And then I was like, no, we need to do something different. Like a genre we have never done. I like almost don't even want to pick this because I don't really want to watch it that much. But I think it'll be fun to talk about. And it is one of our favorite movies. But I'm just like, oh God. We are going to cover our first musical movie, Grease.
Oh, shit. Okay, Grease.
And the reason I picked this is because of the beauty school dropout scene.
That's my favorite.
I just want to watch that.
I want to dress like that for Halloween, but you don't want to.
I do now. I saw it the other day, and now I want to do it.
Cool.
And my other pick, so I almost was going to let you pick, and then I was like, nah, let's do Grease so we can do like something that's really like fun and upbeat and our first musical movie. And I feel like Grease is a good first musical movie because it's like probably almost everyone's first musical movie that they watch.
So true.
Like literally. Maybe the like kids growing up now, it's Mamma Mia, but I feel like our generation, it was like you watched Grease as a kid. So I thought that would be fun. But my other one I was mulling over, which is actually one of my favorite movies, and at a point in time in my life was my favorite movie, was The Breakfast Club. But that's a real downer.
That one, Breakfast Club always feels like a wintry movie to me.
Okay.
Like,
I'll keep that
like
in
maybe
mind.
like even like in November or January when we're in the holiday slump after or something.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Or we could have like a John Hughes month. We could watch that, Breakfast Club, Uncle Buck.
They all feel kind of wintry. They all feel kind of like January.
Mm-hmm. They all got their big coats on.
But yeah, I think Grease will be fun. I've been seeing a lot of like regional productions of Grease on my TikTok, and the people are just like eating it up, like doing their absolute biggest one. So I think it'll be a fun one to discuss.
Well, yay. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want.
Honey.
What'd you say? Who?
I was gonna say
Oh, I was like, Glad you didn't take any of her crap, Sonny.
A bunch of 40-year-old high school students.
Can't wait. Yeah, I'd be like me playing a freshman.
Beauty school dropout. Go back to high school.
No graduation day for you.
Missed your midterms and flunk shampoo. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, so that wraps it up. Next week, Grease, you got a week, ladies and gents.
Thank you guys so much for sticking with us as we talked about Eat, Pray, Love. We're very excited to see you next week and talk about the iconic musical film, Grease.
And you know what? We have social medias. We also have an email address. And we have a website too. And if you have any thoughts about Eat, Pray, Love, or maybe you feel like we missed the mark or didn't quite see it the way you see it, maybe you love this movie, maybe we totally disappointed you, or maybe you're right on board with where we are with this movie, we would love to hear your feedback and see what you think of the contentious 2010 Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, let us know. And if anyone has like a more positive take on the film and is able to change our minds, we'll read it in the next episode and explain why it changed our minds.
Yeah.
Because, like, I would love to have a more positive take on this movie. I just don't at this
I know.
time.
I would love to have, like, an epiphany or, like, somebody's words that, like, unlocked a new meaning of it for me. And I'll be like, oh, my God, I see it totally different now. I love it.
Same. So I hope someone out there has that nugget of information.
The magic of it. Okay. Well, yeah. Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, our website, TikTok, YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we will be back with you next week for Grease Lightning. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Okay. Love you guys. See you next week. Love you, Maggie.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.